There's always that one opportunity everyone ignores until it's too late. It hides in plain sight, right in front of the crowd, invisible not because it's complicated, but because it's quiet. That's exactly what's happening with XRP. Most investors have no idea what they're looking at. They see lawsuits, price charts, and headlines, but they don't see the structure forming behind the noise. And when the world finally realizes what this asset really represents, the window to act will already be gone. Welcome back to Crypto Equation, where we decode the signals that shape tomorrow's markets before the mainstream catches on. Today we're talking about one of the biggest opportunities hiding in the open financial system, and why almost everyone will miss it. Because the truth is, by the time XRP's role becomes obvious, it won't be an investment anymore. It'll be infrastructure. The story of XRP isn't about hype, it's about timing. Timing is what separates fortune from regret, and this moment, the one we're in right now, is the inflection point. For over a decade, Ripple has been building quietly while the market shouted loudly. They faced lawsuits, regulatory pressure, and skepticism from every corner of the crypto space. And through it all, they never stopped building. Why? Because Ripple's mission was never to entertain traders. It was to rebuild the plumbing of global finance. And that's exactly what they've done. Right now, more than 70 countries have Ripple-connected corridors. Banks, payment providers, and even central banks are running pilots using Ripple's on-demand liquidity. Each one of those integrations increases the foundation beneath XRP's price. Yet retail investors barely notice. They're too focused on hype cycles and quick gains to see what's quietly becoming the most important bridge in modern finance. Here's what the few who understand this know. XRP doesn't need to win a popularity contest. It just needs to function. The more the world moves toward instant cross-border settlement, the more XRP becomes necessary. And the more it's used, the more its limited supply starts to matter. This is what separates XRP from every other crypto asset. It's not competing for attention, it's competing for adoption. Adoption is boring, slow, and technical. But when it's complete, it's irreversible. The global payment system is evolving faster than anyone expected. ISO 20022, the Universal Financial Messaging Standard, has already gone live, connecting over 10,000 banks to a new digital language. Ripple didn't just prepare for that change, they built for it years in advance. Their system is fully compliant, interoperable, and already in position. That's why insiders say Ripple is perfectly placed for what comes next. Once these financial systems flip fully to digital, XRP becomes the lubricant that keeps everything moving. And that's where the real revaluation happens. Not because of hype, but because of function. The banks that move trillions daily will need liquidity that moves as fast as information. XRP provides that. And because it's finite, demand will eventually force repricing. That's not a dream. It's simple mechanics. But here's where most people will miss it. They expect this shift to be loud. They think there'll be an announcement, a headline, a bell ringing at the top of the market saying, it's time. But real revolutions don't work like that. They happen quietly, in phases. First denial, then resistance, then adoption. Right now, XRP is somewhere between resistance and adoption. The infrastructure is built, but the recognition hasn't arrived yet. That's why this moment matters. This is the last phase when the public still has access before institutions fully dominate. Once regulatory clarity spreads globally, the big money moves in, and when it does, prices don't rise slowly. They leap to reflect utility. That's what we call the repricing event. And when it happens, the people who were waiting for certainty will realize they missed it. They'll blame manipulation or timing. But the truth is simple. They didn't understand what they were holding. They didn't see that XRP isn't speculation. It's inevitability. Ripple's acquisition of Medico in 2023 was the silent clue. It gave them institutional-grade custody over tokenized assets, the foundation for the tokenized economy that's expected to exceed $16 trillion by 2030. That means Ripple won't just move money. It'll custody the assets being moved. They'll own both sides of the bridge. That's how you build systemic control quietly, step by step. And that's what's happening right now. The people who study this know what's coming. The ones who don't will scroll past it. That's how every major wealth transfer in history works. The crowd looks away until the noise becomes impossible to ignore. By then, it's too late. XRP's opportunity window isn't measured in months. It's measured in integrations. Each new partnership, each corridor, each compliance milestone closes it further. When it's finally obvious, it will no longer be accessible. By the time the masses understand what's happening, XRP will already be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It'll be invisible, built into the backbone of global payments, silently moving value between currencies, banks, and digital assets without fanfare. You won't see it trending on social media. You'll see it embedded in financial infrastructure. And that's when the story shifts from speculation to necessity. The same people calling it dead or irrelevant today will soon be using it without even knowing it. Their banks, their payment apps, their governments will settle through Ripple's rails. XRP will have become the digital bloodstream of money itself. The irony is that the clues have been here all along. Every press release about a new partnership, every announcement of ISO 2022 compliance, every pilot with a central bank, it's all pointing to the same destination. Ripple's network isn't theoretical, it's operational. The legal clarity that many thought would end XRP's journey actually unlocked it. Ripple didn't just survive the lawsuit, it gained the regulatory legitimacy other projects can only dream of. Now, with compliance in hand, they're scaling faster than ever, strategically connecting regions and asset classes in preparation for full utility. That's why this moment matters more than any price chart. Charts don't measure inevitability, they measure noise. The opportunity isn't in predicting tomorrow's candle, it's in understanding where this entire market is heading. When the world digitizes value, it will need a bridge. When that bridge is needed, it will be used. When it's used, it will be repriced. It's that simple. The hardest part for most investors is recognizing when quiet progress is actually the loudest signal of all. The signs are everywhere if you know where to look. Banks are no longer experimenting with blockchain, they're integrating it. Governments are no longer debating digital currencies, they're designing them. Ripple is no longer pitching its technology, it's implementing it. The transformation is already in motion, just invisible to those waiting for fireworks. Think about how this plays out. The first full-scale central bank digital currency networks go live. Cross-border settlements happen in seconds. Tokenized real-world assets move freely between countries. Each transaction requires liquidity. Each connection adds volume. And each volume increase tightens XRP's available supply. The repricing won't look like a sudden pump. It'll look like the world waking up to a new standard. The moment that standard is accepted, the window closes. You'll either own the bridge or you'll pay to cross it. History repeats itself. The early internet was ridiculed. Electric cars were impossible. Streaming services were unsustainable. And yet every one of those industries transformed the world while most investors hesitated. The pattern is the same. Doubt first, adoption later, regret always. XRP sits right in that pattern. It's at the stage where conviction is rare and reward is exponential. Those who can see structure forming beneath the noise will be the ones who benefit when the world finally realizes what it's been ignoring. Imagine it's 2030. The financial reset is complete. The dollar, euro, and yen all have digital twins. Global corporations move trillions daily using tokenized liquidity. And XRP, the same token that traded quietly for years, has become the universal translator of value. Banks don't brag about using it. They just use it. It's invisible, but indispensable. And those who held it early will understand what it means to have seen the future before it was obvious. The tragedy is that most people won't. They'll remember reading about XRP, watching it, maybe even owning a little, but selling because nothing seemed to happen. They won't realize that the silence was the signal. They'll call it luck when it was really foresight. They'll call it timing when it was really patience. That's why this moment, the one you're in right now, is so rare. Because right now, you can still act before the narrative changes. Once it does, you can only react. The opportunity everyone will miss isn't hidden, it's ignored. It's hiding in the slow adoption that bores traders and excites visionaries. It's hiding in the regulatory filings, the payment corridors, and the institutional pilots that never trend online. It's hiding in plain sight, waiting for the world to need what Ripple has already built. And when that moment comes, XRP will no longer be a story. It'll be a standard. You don't need to chase headlines to build wealth. You need to recognize patterns. The pattern here is undeniable. Digital transformation, regulatory clarity, institutional adoption, and limited supply. That combination doesn't stay mispriced forever. When the system demands XRP for utility, the market will adjust instantly. And by then, it won't matter what people believe. It'll only matter what they own. The difference between those who act now and those who wait will be the difference between conviction and regret. Because when the world finally connects the dots, the price won't just rise, it'll reset. The investors who waited for confirmation will be too late, and the ones who understood early will already be on the other side of the bridge. That's how every revolution ends. The door closes quietly, and the few who walked through it early watch the rest realize what they missed. This is the phase that builds legends, the quiet phase, the phase when nothing seems to happen but everything is changing. Don't underestimate it. Every partnership, every regulatory step, every corridor opening is another tick on the countdown. When it reaches zero, there will be no warning. The market will simply wake up. XRP's opportunity isn't about guessing a price target. It's about recognizing inevitability before the world does. The blueprint is complete, the network is ready, and the institutions are aligning. All that's left is activation. And when activation happens, the chance to be early disappears forever. This is Crypto Equation, reminding you that opportunities never look obvious until they're gone. The question isn't whether XRP will redefine global finance, it's whether you'll be ready before it does. Don't sleep on it, don't wait for validation, and don't underestimate what's already being built beneath the surface. Because by the time the world wakes up, this opportunity will be the one everyone missed until it was too late. I'll see you in the next one.